Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Insightful Accountant webinar, How Expanding Your Service Offering Can Increase Your Profits, presented by David Leary and Michelle Weinstein, sponsored by Melio. Insightful Accountant is an online news and information source written for small business advisors interested in the latest news and offerings in accounting technology. My name is Emily Hedrick, and I'll be your webinar host. If you have any questions during the session, please enter them in the Q&A box and we'll try to address them. Everyone that has registered will receive a follow-up email with the handout and recording later today. Today's speakers. David Leary is an innovative and influential force in the small business accounting world. With over 22 years of QuickBooks experience, David has provided many small businesses, accountants, and developers with technical tools, deep industry knowledge, strategy, and solutions. His business sense, vast technical knowledge, and domain expertise have helped bridge the gap between developers, small business owners, and accountants. His unique style and impressive network have influenced and helped shape the new generation of accounting professionals. Michelle Weinstein is known for teaching entrepreneurs to grow their business to 8 figures and beyond. Her passion is helping entrepreneurs and business owners to remember their worth and embrace the selling process with confidence. Michelle trains accountants how to use her unique and proven system to sell more services, overcome any objection, and have a life full of abundance. She has successfully trained CPAs how to actually and efficiently implement powerful techniques, adding $10,000 to $50,000 in additional revenue every month. Thank you both for being here today, and when you're ready, you can get started.
Thanks for having us, Emily. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Michelle's going to kick things off. She's going to need screen sharing. I don't know if Emily, if you've enabled that yet for her. And then Michelle will kick things off. I'll jump in as necessary, and then I'll wrap up on the second back half. So we get things shared in one moment.
Awesome. So Oops. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep, it's sharing.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Michelle. So thank you for that intro, Emily. And I have a business called The Abundant Accountant, and I'm all about helping you have a firm of abundance. So
Michelle, you're not on slide 1, just by the way. It started in the middle of the deck.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. Sorry about that.
We'll redo.
Anyway, it's The Abundant Accountant, and we are starting. So today we're going to talk about how to expand your services and increase profits. And back to what I was saying about The Abundant Accountant, I worked at Moss Adams out of college for 3 years, and I always found myself going to the client meetings and finding myself at client meetings and doing the sales aspects in your business is really what I found. I've sold everything from tax plans to monthly bookkeeping services to you name it. I've sold it. I just don't do the work. So I am not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an EA, but I love really helping you increase your profits. And that's what David and I are really here to talk about. So what we're going to cover today are little intros. That's what we're doing right now. Some of the truths about what's going, on maybe in your thoughts about how you can be more profitable, how you can actually charge your value and your worth and get paid for it and not what you think your client can afford, because I know that's a big one for a lot of you, and really get out of like the rat race so you can not feel like you're on a hamster wheel, but feel like you are growing the firm of abundance, having that time at home, and being valued by your clients and appreciated by them. Because so many times I hear from you, I don't feel appreciated by my clients. They don't get me things on time. So we're going to talk about protecting your inventory today. And we're going to talk about connecting deeper with your clients and making the offer and upgrading, and how Melio can also support you in that. So David will be doing a demo at the end, and then we're also going to just open it up for Q&A, which is my favorite. So make sure to have a pen and paper. I do tend to talk fast. I talk more about stuff not on the slides, but the slides are there because accountants have told me, Michelle, we need the visual too. I said, okay, well, we got the visual for you. So just like Emily had introduced, I actually worked at Moss Adams for 3 years, and then I got into real estate and sales, and then I had my own business called Fitzy Foods. I pitched on Shark Tank in March of 2017. I had to close that business. I wish I had great accountants like you because I probably wouldn't have closed. I lost almost about a $1.5 million of investment money for my investors, ended up with $100,000 in credit card debt. So if any of you feel like you're in debt and behind the 8 ball, I've been there. In 14 months, paid it all off, and I started podcasts. And people were like, oh, Michelle, you can't do a podcast. You don't know what you're talking about. You never interviewed anybody. What are you going to talk about? So I did a series for a year, 52 weeks, called Coffee is for Closers. I started Success Unfiltered in April of 2017. And then in October 2018, I started a podcast for all of you called the Abundant Accountant Podcast. So you can download it. It's totally free, iTunes, Google Play. And it's really about conversations that are non-technical related. So some of what we're talking about today, you might hear me talk about something similar on the podcast. But I interview awesome people just like David and others who are in the industry to make your life more fruitful, prosperous, and probably really what you want, and which is having a business and a firm of your own and not feeling like you have a job. So that's me. And David.
Hey everybody, I'm David Leary. I'm the Director of Accounting and Bookkeeping Evangelism at Intuit. I'm sorry, at Melio. It shows how long. So I was at Intuit for almost 22 years. So it's really hard to get that out of my system still. So I'm actually at Melio, not Intuit anymore. I at Intuit, my whole career has been QuickBooks. I started doing tech support for QuickBooks DOS. I did quality assurance, product development, product management. My last 6 years, I spent really focused on bringing third-party apps like Melio or T-Sheets or HubDocs or the Receipt Banks or the Auto Entries and all these apps you love and use that add on to QuickBooks. I really spent bringing them to our world, getting them exposed to accountants and bookkeepers, making them build their app so accountants and bookkeepers can use it correctly. I actually built an app that some of you may have used back in the day on QuickBooks Desktop, View My Paycheck. That was my baby. I also have a podcast. I co-host the Cloud Accounting Podcast with Blake Oliver. I host a small conference called the Accounting Salon, which is just cloud-only accountants and bookkeepers. I also started my own company since I left Intuit. And there's two big eye-opening events because I was starting my own company. One was everything in my career prior has always been theory, right? Tech support was fake data. Quality assurance was fake data. When I was helping apps connect to QuickBooks, I was working with fake data. But then I started my own company and I went, and just like everybody starts their company, right, Michelle, you go buy a piece of swag. You buy something with your company name on it. So I charged that with the debit card. I got the email of the receipt. I forwarded it to Auto Entry. Auto Entry scanned it, put it into my QuickBooks Online, download the bake feed, and everything matched. And I was jumping up and down in my kitchen because I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. All the stuff I've been talking about in theory all really works. It was super eye-opening. But the other big eye-opening thing for me was now I have zero tolerance for apps that put bad data into my QuickBooks. Before, when I was testing, it was no big deal. But now when an app messes up my QuickBooks, there's no mercy for that. So I'm super, super picky about that. And now I really relate when accountants and bookkeepers get upset when apps mess up their clients' data. Since I was at Auto Entry got bought by Sage. I didn't leave a big company like Intuit to go get a job at a bigger company like Sage. And about the time I was discovering Melio to use it with my podcast, Melio has discovered me as well. And since then, I've joined the Melio at Melio. Just a little note on my role at Melio. I took that word evangelism from my previous roles because I like it because it's kind of a double-edged knife, if you want to call it that. And one level, I'm supposed to be out there speaking and telling people how great Melio is. But really the more important half of this is my role is internally, I need to make product managers, developers, the founders, the marketing teams, everybody at Melio internally as excited about accountants and bookkeepers solving their problems as I am. And so that's why I've kept that title. And that's really in a way, my number one job is to get Melio to solve all of your problems, because then you can solve your clients' problems ultimately.
Yeah,
And
then
that's
you
all
can
my
make
contact
more
stuff.
money and improve
Sorry?
your bottom line. Well, if you can get more things like Melio and other things to help you, then you can spend more time with your clients, charging for the larger services that are the most profitable in your business. So how can you become more efficient and systematized, which I think, David, is what you're saying.
But yeah, by using any apps, right? As you add on apps. Yep, exactly. And then the only other note on this slide, that's my true contact information. That is my cell phone. You can text me. Do not call me because I'm doing a webinar and I can't answer my phone if I'm doing a webinar. So, but you can text me if you'd like.
Awesome. Well, I'm not sure if any of you feel like you're constantly stressed out about where your next client's coming from. If you are, put it in the chat box. I see there's 31 of you, so let's make this interactive and fun and not too boring. I've been told that things I do are not boring, and that was actually the most entertaining hour that people have ever had. So let's make sure we keep that up. But if you feel like you're kind of stressed, not knowing where your clients are coming from, you know, raise your hand. I think there's that feature. Or what about if you spend a ton of time or money, you know, connecting with clients, and then you feel like, oh, I've done all this work and I didn't even make a whole lot of money because we undercharged or didn't charge enough. Or maybe you're tired of being overworked and underpaid, right? Like that might be one too. And that's one of the polls going on. So you can just click whichever one feels good to you. But maybe you feel like you're not in control of your calendar, like you're unorganized, and then the unorganized falls into your client's work, and then the client's work falls into like just everything feels unorganized. You don't have a systemized process for anything.
Well, Emily, I guess, is running the poll, so Emily will let us know when it's complete, and then we'll be able to chat about the results a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
I'll just give a few more seconds to get those answers in.
Julie, what do you mean? If you're not concerned at the moment, but if anything happens to my current clients, you have no idea where to start. Do you mean like with the sales process or with your apps or with the work? So it looks like a lot of you are tired of feeling overworked and underpaid. Yes, that's a great answer for today's talk. I am all about making sure you have extra time and you are paid like the expert that you truly are. Because a lot of you are CPAs, EAs, you have master's degrees. Some of you have masters in tax. You've done a ton of CPE credits. You listen to the Abundant Accountant podcast. You listen to the Cloud Accounting podcast. So you're always learning. And when we learn, well, when do we get compensated for all that education, right? So, all right, cool. How do I like move forward? Okay.
That's just the slide. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, so increasing revenue and profit actually doesn't have to be that much work, but it does take a little bit of work because you have to set yourself up correctly. And if we set ourselves up correctly and having our clients trust us and knowing the expertise that we bring to them, then offering what we offer at whatever price it is, they'll go for it no matter what you charge. Because here's the reality of some things. And like I said, I'm going to talk about things not on the slide. People actually don't buy based on price. People buy based on feelings and emotions. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, Michelle, how do we do that, right? Because the old way was, how do you chase new clients and money all the time? You're always like going after all the new stuff, but what about like your current existing client base? What do we do with them? Because the new way is, how do you provide a lifetime value to one client and their other business owner friend that you know, to getting other really great referrals. Okay, there's really great referrals. We have another poll. So we're going to get more interaction from you on this, but while the poll is going, we're going to talk about, okay, well, Rachel uses value pricing. Rachel, you're ahead of the game. You're in the right direction, you know? And it was easy at first to come out with the price, but now I have to become very efficient, and it's so hard to charge enough. Okay. So then maybe your value pricing just isn't high enough, Rachel, and we can talk about that. Because what I've noticed, I have an 8-week sales mastery class where we'll talk about that at the end. But a lot of my students that I've worked with have been kind of in the same boat. You know, once let's say you charge a client $5,000 a month for monthly bookkeeping, and then you actually go and do a 90-day analysis on, you know, what is truly going on and what is the hard cost for you or your team. We tend to not charge enough, Rachel, when we're offering our value pricing. So I've done a few podcasts with others that took me up on this. Because people buy because they like you, Rachel, and that you're going to fix their problem. What I would recommend you do is just take whatever number you think in your head and just times it by 2. And then after about 90 days, do an analysis and see how profitable you are. Because yes, efficiency is key, but it's also not having that frustration about, oh my God, I didn't charge enough. Now I have to do all this work. And then you have these negative thoughts going through your head when you're actually doing their work, which is not good. So what are some services you don't currently offer today? Okay, so it looks like the biggies are virtual CFO work, which is great to offer for value pricing. It's very profitable. And cash flow planning. That's another great consulting.
Especially this year. Yeah.
What?
Especially with the pandemic, right? It's super
important. With the pandemic. And I think for 2021, for those of you that aren't offering cash flow planning and virtual CFO work, those are 2 biggies to add to your priority for 2021, because you can make a lot of money. I actually had a client, David, during, you know, the beginning of all this. It was about March 20th. All these clients were emailing for PPP stuff, right? Most of you, my guess, is answered a lot of their questions for free. Who did that? Who helped clients with PPP and EIDL stuff, complimentary, no charge, because they're already a client? Well, I think I actually put his story up on my website, Julie, yep, right? I said, I challenged David. I said, David, you know, these clients rely on you. Some of them have 25, 50, 100 employees. Like, if you help them today and actually charge, do you think they're going to have any mistakes in the work that they do? Probably not. But if you do stuff for free, there's actually no value attached to it. So the clients don't appreciate you for it. They don't understand why you're probably doing it for free, but we feel bad. Right, Julie? You feel bad. You're like, oh, why do I have to charge my client? They're already a current client. I should probably just do this for free. Yeah, I know. Those are those things in our head that just suck us dry. And then, just like you put in the poll, you feel overworked and underpaid. And it's not good for anyone, right, David?
No.
Yeah, so
and the
Dan,
PPP, you know, in a way, like this was almost self-fulfilling, because the AICPA, technically you weren't allowed to charge to fill out the application. So people applied that to like every question they got from a customer or from a client about PPP. And you really could charge for the report generation, consulting them on it. You just couldn't charge to fill in the fields.
You can charge for consulting. Anyway, David did this. He upgraded, or upsold, I call it, all his clients. He did $45,000 in revenue in a 3-month period just from his current clients. And his current clients said, Julie, thank you so much. Oh my God, I was so stressed out about it. I'm so happy that I know that you have this all taken care of and that, you know, it's all done. And guess what? I don't know, whenever the forgiveness stuff happens, he's going to help them with that too. Because Dan, how many hours did you spend working on the PPP stuff for your clients? And how much did you charge? That's what I want to know. Julie, you're not alone. A lot of people, until you do a lot of mindset work, we can't really make that shift to charge, because it's not like it just happens like that, unfortunately. And a lot of them are struggling, but here's the real struggle is when we struggle and they're struggling, it's a lose, lose, lose situation. But if they're struggling and you can help them, what I want you to think about, Julie, is if you didn't help them, how much more would they be struggling? What is it going to cost them to not do that, right? So here's the thing about what we were talking about before the poll. New leads, new clients, all that, it costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time. It's actually much easier and much more cost effective to work with your current clients and sell them new services to get new business. And I talk about this all the time. It's like there's a plethora of revenue and a gold mine within just your current client base, let alone, you know, David, I don't know if we're talking about this today, but asking for referrals and other ways. But just like David said, you can charge for consulting, you can charge for, you know, running reports and doing that kind of work, because these clients rely on you. Julie, if all your clients were going out of business, that's a different story. You know, I would feel a little bad too, but maybe there's a line where you draw in the sand, like, here's how much pro bono work I'm going to do, and here's what I'm not going to do.
Well, and you could value price it a different way, right? If you can help a client get through the pandemic, you could actually, hey, if I help you survive this, you're going to kick me. I'm going to charge you a bonus. I'm going to charge you more when we get you over the next 12 months, right? I'm going to discount my fees now, but they're going to go up. I'm going to charge you later on. Defer the payment. Yep.
You could do that. I don't really advise that all the time. Like I said, David, it's going to probably be an 80-20 rule on that. Like there's 20% that you might need to do that with because they literally are cash poor and credit card poor. However, when people make an investment in you, Julie, at a high level, they comply. So my question to you, and Julie, I hope you don't mind, I'm using you as an example, but like how many clients do you work with that don't get you things to you on time? They're late for everything. They don't respond when you need them. And then it makes your job even harder, right? Most. Okay, she's proving my point. Thank you, Julie, for playing along with me today. And here's the reason why. Because most people, and this has happened with some of my clients and students that I've worked with, they've actually went to their clients that they were doing this with, Julie, and the clients admitted, I knew I was getting a good deal. Because if you keep allowing it, then they're going to keep eating it up. When we stop and draw the line in the sand into I'm changing my business model because of the pandemic and I can no longer be a nonprofit. You could share that, Julie, and just start charging for things right now. But yeah, it is something I think you should probably work on. And, you know, maybe we could chat about that later. But your clients who you already have know, like, and trust you. Okay. When they know, like, and trust you, that equals more loyalty, more referrals, and more money. And you would be surprised. It's just we have a limiting belief, Julie, that if I ask my current client to pay me for something, they probably won't pay me. And then I'm afraid of losing them. That's typically what happens. But I want to challenge each of you today. Just try this once with one client who you feel you've had them for 10 years. You've never charged for anything like this before, and you're really scared to share, hey, you know what? I'm completely willing to take the PPP stuff off your plate and the EIDL. I've got a package for that. For me to do that, it's $5,000, or if that seems scary, try $2,500 or whatever it is. And just watch what happens. It's fascinating. And then, Julie, your mindset will start to shift really quick, because to be honest, if you have a solution, right, and all of you have it, CFO work. What was the other one, David, that they want to do for this?
Cash flow forecasting. You could do accounts payable.
Forecasting.
There's so many things to add on that are right in your wheelhouse already of skills. Right?
Yeah, and what I want you to think about is add on to your current clients. I think for 90% of the people that contact me for help, the biggest thing they put is, I need more leads. That's it. That's what they think their challenge is. And I bet a lot of you, how many people here think you have a lead problem? Does anyone here think you have a lead problem? That you need more clients and you need more leads? I'm just curious, actually.
A couple hands are going up.
Rachel, no? Okay. So Dan, so the people that think you have a lead problem, what I typically find in about 90% of them is that you have a conversion problem. And we aren't asking our current clients to upgrade because you have more solutions. You could add cash flow planning. You could add CFO work. You could add, you know, the headache removal PPP and EIDL package, the stress-free pandemic package. How about that? That's a good idea. And when we don't offer it to them, Julie, we actually do them a disservice. Because here's the thing, with a current client, you have a 50-50 chance they might say yes, or Julie, they might say, you know what, I thought you were going to do this anyway. And at that time, you can figure out how to handle it. But what if they say, sure, Julie, yeah, I'd really appreciate you take off all that off my plate. Your pandemic package sounds great. I'm honestly stressed out every night and can't sleep. You never know. But here's what I want you to see, Julie, is that you have a 50-50 chance that they might say something different, okay? So the first step in all of this is to protect your inventory. And that means, like, don't give anything away for free anymore. Just try it. All I invite each of you to do, there's 30 of you here. That could be, let's just say it's $1,000. You end up charging someone you would have done for free. That's $30,000 in revenue together as a group you could generate. And I promise you it'll happen. We just have to start protecting our inventory because we can't give away our knowledge and time for free anymore. When you do that, there's no value attached to it. And I have a really funny, I don't know, let's just see. Has anyone here like wanted to lose weight before? And you think like the bottle of pills for $9.99 at the store that says if you take this for 30 days, you're going to lose 10 pounds works? Has anyone tried anything like that before in your personal life? Yeah, David.
The magic pill, right? The magic pill. We always want it.
Magic pill. Well, because it was so cheap, David, my guess is you probably didn't even take it. Or you did for like a week and then you're like, oh, you know what? This isn't even working. Because when there isn't a high value attached to it, we have a hard time as human beings to value that at a high level. So when we don't charge our clients a lot or we give it away for free, they don't really take us seriously, and we actually could be doing them a disservice and hurting them because they, Julie, I'm curious because you're playing along very well. Have you ever given like a tip away for free to a client and then about a year later you see them and you wonder if they went through with it? You know, maybe it was a tax planning tip, maybe it was something to save on taxes, and they never even did what you told them to do. And you gave them that idea away for free because they're already a current client, you do their books, you do their payroll, whatever, and the business owner took zero action. Did that happen ever? No? Oh, yes, she said yes. Okay. Yeah, and here's the reason why. Because if we give away our information for free, there's no value attached to it. So the business owner is like, oh, well, Julie just told me that. And well, why do I have to change anything? I mean, she didn't charge me for it. There's very few people, like if you all gave me one strategy or idea, I'd probably go implement it because that's just how I am. But 99.9% of human beings, if you give it for $0, there's zero action involved. And the free will never increase your revenues. And in the beginning, on the first poll, we almost 50% of you, it was 45%, I think, right, David?
I think so, yeah, pretty high.
That you're overworked and underpaid. Well, the first thing to change is that we have to start charging for the work that we do. Otherwise, that feeling and that cycle will just never go away. Oh, look, because it will leave you feeling used, overworked, and undervalued. I'm glad we're all on the same page today.
So, Michelle, sometimes that feels like a trap, right?
It
it's
is.
a slippery slope, right? Because you get an email that says, like the client might say, like, can I pick your brain for a minute? Can I just get 10 minutes? And next, you know, you've been on the call for an hour. By that time, it's too late. You've crossed the chasm and you can't recover from it. But it's a cycle, right? You can't. How do you get out of that cycle?
You can, because when someone calls you to pick your brain or to have a call with you, or you know what, I have a quick question. Great, I would love to connect with you. Here's my calendar. And a lot of these calendars, you can set up a payment link and you can just start charging for your time. Do you think you call an attorney and don't get billed for that 15 minutes that you were on the phone with them? How many of you have an attorney? Because I have a couple. I mean, why aren't you all any different? So I have a student, Julie, she didn't believe me. She's like, oh, no way, Michelle. There's no one that will do that. Anyway, she told me last week she made $475 in 45 minutes for phone calls that she used to just answer people's questions for. So slowly, these little changes will make a shift, will make a difference, and will make a shift. So David, yes, you're 100% right. But the only way to change is to just try something a little different and new. Because if you keep doing the same thing, yeah, nothing's going to change. So how does it fit with value pricing? Rachel, it would fit with this. You have engagement creep and engagement steep, right? How many of you feel like you have dollars going down your shower drain because, you know, you agreed to an engagement, Rachel, right? Value price. So let's say it was $5,000. And in your engagement letter, you wrote out everything you're going to do. Then the client calls you, just like David said, and asks you another quick question about something 180 degree not related to your engagement. Well, that would be engagement steep if you allow it. So Rachel, if you start answering questions that aren't related to the engagement, now you're in the engagement steep department because you're allowing that without saying, hey, you know what? This actually is something different than what we talked about and what I'm engaged for on a monthly basis. I'd love to set up a meeting and talk to you about how we could explore the possibilities of working together to tackle this new thing that you just brought to my attention. And that's how you have to differentiate it. In addition to this, on your engagement letters, one of the biggest things that I've seen work for pretty much everybody is start listing out, Rachel, in your engagements what you will provide and what you won't provide. When you start talking about what you won't provide and then the client calls you, you have to pull up the engagement letter to refresh your brain what you shared. Melissa's like, yeah, so true, right, Melissa? Well, start saying, you know what, this engagement isn't for what you're asking me about, but we could create a new engagement. Julie, you can value price it, no problem. Just make sure you charge enough. And now you're training yourself because so many of you just allow this to happen because we're busy, right? You're busy, your email's flying, your phone's flying, you've got your coffee, you've got your water. It's like everything's just happening so fast. But when we slow down, we can actually improve profitability. Okay? Yeah, don't sell yourself short. Yeah. All right, cool. So back to, okay, I'm not sure if I already talked about this, but where are you creeping and steeping in your business? Put it in the chat box so everyone else can get an idea. So phone calls and emails that aren't being billed, or Rachel, that weren't part of your value bill engagement, right? If they're asking you a question not about that engagement, then it's time to either charge separately for that call, or maybe there's a different challenge that they need solved for a new engagement. Old clients that aren't being charged at some new rates. How many of you keep postponing that year after year? Oh my God, I'm busy. Okay, I'm going to deal with them next year. You have poor boundaries with clients. How many of you have that? But I want to know if there's any other ones that I didn't put on here or that David and I. Yeah, Dan, good.
I think probably SEEP, right? When clients don't follow instructions, right? You put them on a system, you ask them to do something a certain way, then they just don't do it. They just don't do it. They just don't do it. And like, it just costs you time, right?
It costs you time because David, it's seeping because we're not saying, hey, client, this is what we agreed to. So when we allow what we don't want, and there's some sort of quote, like we allow what we persist, or I don't know how it goes, but yeah, it's seeping. It's literally like the water going down your shower drain, but imagine it all dollar bills. And what I've found is that most accountants pretty much in this area are losing 25 to 50,000 every single year, just from this. How many of you want 25 to 50 grand extra to your top line revenue? That's what I want to know. Yeah, okay. So the second step that's super duper important is that we want to stay connected with clients. So I think Melio is a great option to continue this. And maybe David, you can chime in on how Melio could really help you stay connected to your clients. But having a system in place with regular follow-up and check-in with clients is super important. So if you're value pricing, Rachel, I hope you have like some monthly check-in in there, okay? And really make it a point to do a discovery call, the first call with them to find out if any changes have happened, new problems. When you figure this out and have calls with your clients at least annually, and it's funny, like my CPA, he's super cool. We met a long time ago before I started working with all of you. And, I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, we got to have a call. It's October. I got to make sure I'm prepared for the end of the year, but how come you all aren't doing this? I would want an email from him. Hey, Michelle, let's chat 15 minutes, October or December, just to make sure your year end is done right. But this is an opportunity for you to end scope creep, to end engagement creep, engagement seek, whatever you want to call them. They're both all happening at all times. And this is an opportunity for you to put an end to it and put more money into your bank account. And this is also an opportunity to share new things you're learning, case studies, results you're getting for other clients. Maybe PPP stuff, EIDL stuff, pandemic stuff, especially for those of you that are in a niche. Like if you work only with construction-based businesses, maybe there's one that's thriving versus your one that's really struggling to keep things going and keep alive. So how can you help support them in a way where they make more money and can pay you more money? And I like to do this by using strategic questions. So I'm going to share with you some questions that you can incorporate when you're talking to your clients, because this is the really weird part for a lot of the accountants that I work with. They're like, oh, Michelle, well, what do I say? So you want to be really curious about what you're asking your clients when you're digging deeper. And I always like to think about it like an onion. Whatever your client says as the first answer is like the outside of the onion. And we really want to get to the core of the onion together. And when you get to the core with the onion with your clients, they're going to be like, wow, Rachel, I've never told my accountants any of this kind of stuff before. And when you start hearing answers like that, that means you're doing a great job asking really good questions. So you want to allow the clients to ask, or you want to ask the clients questions based on their current situation. And the reason why is that maybe this could be an upgrade. Maybe they need CFO work. Maybe their current internal person isn't doing a good job, and you could actually do it better for the same amount they were paying on a W-2 for their employee. There's so many possibilities that come up when we start asking good questions. And we want to dig to the middle of that onion until they guide themselves to go, Rachel, can you just help me with this? Because that's typically what will happen. So here are some examples of some questions that you can use to connect. So if you want to take a picture of this, write them down, whatever you want. But these are some really good questions to ask right now for your clients, okay? And I really like the last one, because if you can get to the truth by asking this last question with maybe a couple follow-ups, and think about their first answer as the outer layer to get to the root and center of the onion, to know what an impact and difference would make. Like Rachel, what if I asked you, Rachel, what would make an impact or difference in your business in the next 10 minutes? What would be your answer? Let's play along. Okay, let me open the chat box. I don't see your answer, but maybe it's coming. But then you say, okay, Rachel, what would make an impact or difference in your business in the next 10 weeks? And then you ask them in the next 10 months, learn more about Melio. Okay, we're going to get to that, so I'll speed up. But, I'd say, okay, what would Melio provide for you if you were able to do that? So these are all just really great questions to ask for your clients. So now what, right? You've connected with your client. You've identified some challenges and problems by asking them questions. You have some solution in mind, like Melio or CFO work or cash flow planning or the PPP EIDL pandemic package. you have to make the offer and upgrade them. You have to actually ask, Rachel, because again, 50-50 chance they might go for it. And if they don't, then you can decide if you want to donate your knowledge for free. At that time, I would recommend don't. But at that point, at least you've got a chance to see. So the ask is super duper important. And I like to explain it like this because I've worked with a lot of accountants, and especially with Melio, as you're bringing this up to your clients. No one can come to your party if you don't invite them. So treat the sales process or the ask with your potential clients like that. Like, it's like a birthday party. Do you want to come to my birthday party? And it's the same with your services. Do you want me to help you, really resolve these problems so you can sleep at night? So many accountants I've noticed do all this work up front, but then we never ask the prospects to do the upgrade or work with us, or we never ask for a referral. And they are really, truly counting on you to make the ask. That's where you show your confidence. So where can you offer upgrades? Here are some other ideas, even more so than what was in the first poll, but you could do premium rate packages. Rachel, I think you're doing that. Concierge value packages. You could do that for CFO work, like concierge CFO packages. David, do you have any other ideas? Maintenance packages, consulting calls, and services. For all of you that are just emailing and responding to people's questions or just talking to clients all day long, I would really consider just charging for that if it's at a scope from your engagement. If it was part of the engagement, awesome. If it wasn't, let's consider maybe charging and seeing like, hey, put on your attorney hat. An attorney would charge for that.
And so do you have any clients, Michelle, that you have added or changed their offer, their packages, and how that really ripples across like their monthly revenue and then what it means at the end of the year? Just a small package addition, right?
A small package addition, like, something that's $79 to $100 a month, something like that, it will probably only generate, an extra $3,000 to $4,000 a year, depending on how many clients you have. But even on the EIDL packages or the CFO packages, even if you just offer one a month to some client, right? Or let's say you offer it 5 and 1 goes for it. That could be an additional $3,000 to $5,000 a month to your top line revenue, which is going to be anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 a year, depending on how much you charge. So I like where you all were going with this in the poll in offering the higher value stuff because you don't need as many people to say yes. But I've had some students that did the audit protection or, the IRS, anyone doing tax resolution work, offering like opening mail ceremony fees and packages where they can open the mail with the CPA. You could charge an extra $200 per person, and that's a lot of money for not doing anything, maybe just a 30-minute thing for opening mail. So I've seen that a lot. And remember that you are the expert, and don't doubt your expertise because you are CPAs, your accountants, your EAs, your pro advisors, your bookkeepers. You are highly qualified and know the things that people like me don't. And I think from what I've been told from all my students, Michelle, wow, I've valued myself for so many years, and know that you are qualified and you do have what it takes. It just is going to be a little different and maybe scary the first time, but know that your odds are a lot higher than going to Vegas. So you have a 50-50 chance that whatever you offer from this point going forward to your current clients, they might just say yes to you and see that value in you too. Where Rachel, you don't have to give it away for free. You don't have to feel bad because they actually were like, wow, I do value Rachel. I do want to pay you more. And your clients don't know what they need. So they're always another layer with more solutions, and they truly need you. But when I talk to my CPA, I never know what I need. I know about all this stuff, but I don't really understand it. I'm here to help you have the life of abundance. And I know that every single person, human being, walking business owner truly does need you, and you are worth every penny. I've spent a lot of money for accountants, and I wish I did that with my other business, but it didn't happen that way. But now I am. I'm set up the right way.
But that's because your other accountant did not have these conversations and find out what your real problems were to help you solve
right, which is why I'm bringing you a new way to do it, because this isn't getting done. 99% of CPAs and accounting firms are not operating this way. It's like, what do you need? And you got to understand, a business owner who's a construction person or a plumber or whatever, that's what they know. They don't know about efficiency on their books and QuickBooks and payroll and bookkeeping and tax planning and all. I mean, we don't know any of this stuff. And most of it, by the way, overwhelms us. So I want to just put this out there before David goes into his demo. But imagine if you were not, no more taking on clients just because you needed the revenue, or no more like working yourself to death. I've talked to a lot of accountants that are working 12 to 20 hours per day sometimes. And during tax season, it's even worse. And not being appreciated by your clients, and what about no more winging the sales process and conversations, and having the jitters come up when you're talking to clients because we're winging it. So if you've been around, you've had your business for at least 2 years, then I invite you to book a call with myself or my teammate Molly, and we can really explore what's going on and get to the truth of some of your challenges with your sales conversation. So Dan, if you think you need leads, we'll find out together. It's 1 hour, and I'm going to do these complimentary for you. And if I believe that we can work together, I'll go over that too. And if not, I'll steer you in whatever direction would serve you best right now in your firm, because I love to see all of you thrive and explode. And now is just going to be a huge booming time for all of you, because this pandemic for your industry has been probably the biggest blessing in disguise for a lot of you. There are so many opportunities to help people because they are struggling. They're deep underwater, like freaked out because we don't understand PPP. We don't understand EIDL. We need you. So if you want to do that, head on over to the Abundant Call to book your call. And I would love to explore that with some of you. Again, just my criteria is you've been in business at least 2 years and you've had conversation with clients. So thank you all so much. I hope you take away at least one thing. And I would like to see in the chat box, what was the biggest paradigm shift that you had, or aha moment from what we were talking about today, that you're going to go make some change today? Even if we don't talk, I want you to make a change, something. David, can you put that link in the chat box so they can click on it if they want to?
Oh, David, the link, I'll type it in right now.
Yeah, I can't copy paste. But what is one thing you got out of today that you could put? Offering additional services. Great, Nancy. Yes. Tomer, loved it. Great. Definitely offering. Yeah, David put the link to the abundantcall.com. You guys can watch reviews. I pretty much get a testimonial from every accountant I've ever worked with. But for those of you that really want to make a change before 2021, let's chat, because no more, being underappreciated, overworked, and underpaid. Oh, and by the way, David, most of the people I've worked with double their revenue in about a 6-month period. So for everyone in 2020, by June of 2020, they did the equal amount of revenue in 2019. So in a 6-month period, that's typically what I see. It's not for everybody, right? But it's definitely majority. I'd say over 80% of the students I've ever worked with. All right, Melio demo, here we go.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do my screen share, and we're going to, Emily, we have a hard stop at the top of the hour, correct?
We can go a few minutes if you need it. I'm good.
I'm going to give you guys a turbo demo of Melio here. Close this out of the way. Hopefully you guys are seeing my screen right now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Got it. All right. So we'll probably not cover all of this stuff because we do not have the time. So I'm going to kind of give you the turbo demo through here. And we probably won't have a lot of time for Q&A at the end. We can skip this slide. It's important to know that we now have an accountants team. A lot of the team is new, and on their very first day, I made them go become certified in QuickBooks Online. So when you contact the accountants team for support, you're going to be speaking with people that have taken the time to learn QuickBooks, understand QuickBooks Online, understand and have that currency of the conversation with you. Dedicated accountant support, you can always email accountants@meliopayments.com. You can go to our accountants page, melio.com/accountants, and you can always chat with us. Once you're an accountant and you're signed up in Melio, you can actually chat with us right through the product and go straight to our accountants team. We'll skip the definition of Melio today and move on. Short answer is Melio means better. And we'll get into really kind of what Melio is. So ultimately, Melio is just easy to use B2B payments and receivables. So when I say easy, think about Venmo, think about Zelle, think about PayPal. But all of those are just for consumers paying each other. Like if I want to just pay Michelle because we went to dinner and we split the tab, right? It's peer-to-peer, consumer-based money transfers. Melio is essentially that, but for small businesses only. So and it has two really fundamental tenets you'll see from Venmo. Venmo, you can pay people for free. Melio, you can pay people for free. In Venmo, if I pay Michelle, Michelle doesn't care if I use my credit card, my bank account, and I don't care what Michelle does with the money. If she puts in her credit card, she puts in her bank account, or just keeps it in Venmo. It's kind of the same thing with Melio. I can pay a vendor the way I want, and then the vendor can choose to get either a paper check or an ACH deposit, right? So both sides get to pay how they want to pay and get paid how they want to get paid. And so who's Melio for? Think about a sliding scale from free and easy to expensive and complex. And I put ish there because really all of these are kind of free. The bank website, printing paper checks, handwritten paper checks, they're not really free. You're doing double data entry. They're not really free. And then on the expensive and complex side, you really have that enterprise level AP software. There's an approver that needs another approver and another approver, and a VP needs to sign off on paying a bill. And a lot of accountants and bookkeepers have told me that's like smashing an ant with a sledgehammer. The vast majority of your clients just don't need it. They're over here on the left. I made my slide 85 to 90%. I've talked to accountants and bookkeepers. It might be as high as like 97% need the left, and maybe 3% really need that heavy, expensive, complex software. So let's go ahead and do our poll number 3 here, because I want to understand where your client base fits in. And we'll leave that up for a moment here, Emily. Thank you. It's so strange. I was on a Zoom call yesterday or the day before, and I could see as people voted, like horse races, the graphs moving, but apparently it's like every time you use Zoom, you get a different experience. So I don't know what to expect. All right. And Emily, can you share those results? Perfect. So see, a vast majority of your clients are over here on the left side, but there's never really been a product, right? You've basically had to tell those clients, use paper checks, go to the bank website, but that's where Melio came in to fill this gap. And Melio is going to be the product. Oh, my click didn't work. 1 second. So Melio is going to be the product you're going to put most of your clients on. Sure, you're going to have those enterprise level clients that have super complex needs, and Melio probably isn't going to be the fit for them. But the rest, the 97% of your client base, you have no excuse to have them write paper checks anymore, use the bank's website. They can just use Melio Payments for free and move on. Quickly, how it works, you enter a bill, you pay a bill, the vendor gets paid how they want to get paid. One thing that always comes up is how much does Melio cost? There's no sign up, there's no monthly subscription, there's no mailing of checks. ACHs are free. Inviting as many users as you want is free. Receiving payments is free. The only time we charge a fee is if you pay a bill with a credit card. And there I have a slide. I'll talk to that a little bit deeper here in the deck. I'm going to skip the tour because we just don't have a lot of time. For many of you, when you first sign up for Melio, as an accountant, you're going to get an accountant's dashboard. And it's basically an easy way for you to see all your clients in one spot and add new clients to your dashboard. And I'll just do a quick run through of that. So to add a new client, you're just going to click that button that says new client. You're going to put in your client's name, business name, you're going to put in their email address, and then you're going to connect it to QuickBooks. Once it's connected to QuickBooks, it's going to appear on your dashboard, and all of your clients will be here, and you could quickly see if they have bills that are pending, any bills, payments that have failed, if they've scheduled any bill payments, how many bills they need to pay. It'll be in your inbox. So you can quickly navigate between your clients and get a tops-down view of your entire client base on the dashboard. So quickly, I'm going to show you guys how to pay a bill with Melio, and then also how to pay a bill with QuickBooks, because we are now part of QuickBooks. And so it's just important to see the two distinctions between the two and how they relate. So here's Melio all by itself. Nothing's in it. It's my empty Melio, but I did connect it to my QuickBooks. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a bill for into my QuickBooks. Put a bill in for $232.50. I'm going to hit save and close. And now, because I'm synced, my QuickBooks is synced to my Melio, this bill is now appearing in my inbox as a bill to pay for $230.50. I'm going to choose to schedule this bill payment. I'm going to choose my bank account. I'm going to pick the day I want it to come out of my account. I'm going to leave a memo. I'm going to continue. I'm going to get a review and confirmation screen. And all the things I just chose are here. The amount, who I'm paying, the checking account I'm using, the day it's going to be withdrawn from my bank account. And at this time I was paying her paper check, so she got a paper check delivered. And if you notice, the transaction fee is 0. And that is because I did an ACH transfer and she got a paper check. No credit cards were involved, no transaction fee. And along the way, you'll get another confirmation. And now this payment will move from being a bill in the inbox to a scheduled payment. And now it'll show up as a scheduled payment. And in QuickBooks, I clicked the wrong way. And in QuickBooks, it's going to send over a bill payment check. So this bill payment check is going to show up in QuickBooks for $230.50. And it's tied to the bill. And it's showing as paid. So created a bill in QuickBooks, paid the bill in Melio. Right? And so and a lot of you love your registers, so you'll see that the bill is here, and then the bill payment check is here. And along the way, you're going to get emails letting you know that, hey, this was scheduled. You're going to emails know when it's been processed and pulled out of your bank account, and it'll move from scheduled to paid at that time and show that it's now been processed on April 21st. And then eventually, if that person gets a paper check, they deposit it, you're going to get notified of the deposit. So in QuickBooks now, there's now QuickBooks Bill Pay powered by Melio. And the way you know if your client has this or not, and it's been rolled out to everybody, there are some exceptions that if you reach out to our support, we can help you with, but every one of your clients should have this button that says Save and Schedule Payment. And so we're going to enter a bill inside of QuickBooks, and we're going to hit that button. So we're going to put in the dollar amount in, $140.50, fill out the bill. We're going to hit Save and Schedule Payment. It's going to take a moment to load, and I'm going to get a screen similar to the ones I just had. I'm going to choose my bank account. I'm going to choose the day I want it withdrawn from my bank account. I'm going to set in a memo. I'm going to hit continue. Again, I get a review and confirmation screen. And again, the transaction fee is 0 because I'm doing an ACH and she's getting a paper check. I'm going to hit continue. And so now I'm in QuickBooks. I created a bill and I paid a bill. See, it's marked as paid now, and I never left QuickBooks. But because it syncs with Melio, let's just peek and see what Melio looks like. So in Melio, I now have a scheduled payment for $142.50. So I did all the work in QuickBooks, but it still got over to Melio. And along the way, you'll get all the notifications, et cetera, that it's been deposited. So did you notice? These two screens are the same. One is green and one is purple. These two screens are the same, green and purple. It's green and purple, and green and purple. So what we have is two products. We have Melio Payments, and we have QuickBooks Bill Pay powered by Melio. And it's a lot of words to say. So when I'm talking to accountants and bookkeepers, it's much easier just to say purple Melio and green Melio. It's very easy to communicate it that way. So the way you want to think about this, it's different than how other apps have been implemented in QuickBooks before. Other apps they were literally two separate products. So you'd have half your clients in one product and half in the other product. It's very hard to manage, et cetera. With Melio, it's the same train track. So these products are identical. So that money movement you're doing is going on the same train tracks. But the train cards are slightly different. So in QuickBooks, for example, you can pay multiple bills at once. That's a different train car on those train tracks. In Purple Melio, you can do approvals. You can do accounts receivable. You can invite users. So in Purple Melio has different train cars. Now, the trains will not ever be identical between the two because QuickBooks and Melio are not the same product, right? But you will see some train cars and features of Purple Melio come down to Green Melio and maybe possibly vice versa, but they'll never be identical. And then another one I want to just catch really quickly is paying by credit card, because this is the thing that makes Melio very, very, very unique. And there's really three major use cases for this. One is everybody has them. Everybody likes to get their points. Michelle, you like to travel. Do you have a points card?
All of them are points cards. If I have another business that's going to be teaching people how to fly around the world for just paying the taxes.
So you can use your personal credit cards and your business credit cards that have points and pay bills using Melio with your with points cards, right? So that's one reason people want to pay with their credit cards. The second reason is to pay non-traditional items, right? So you have your rent. You can't pay your rent with your credit card, but you can use your credit card in Melio, and then Melio will mail a check to your landlord. So you can pay non-traditional items using Melio. The third use case, which is probably the most important, is going to be your restaurant, right? It's to be able to set your own terms. So you're a fine dining establishment, COVID comes, you have to become a takeout restaurant. You don't have plastic forks or foam boxes because you're a fine dining establishment. So you got to go to the restaurant vendor to go get foam boxes and plastic forks. But because you're a restaurant and it's COVID, they're not letting you buy anything on credit. No. But you're also a restaurant and it's COVID, you can't let go of your cash, right? So what you can do is you, as a restaurant, you could pay for your phone boxes with your credit card. The vendor will get an email notification saying a paper check's on the way or ACH is on the way. The vendor is going to get what they want, which is the cash now, but you have the freedom as the restaurant owner to pay this when you get your credit card bill down the road, right? So really you just get to set your own terms. And that's probably the most important use case of being able to pay a bill with a credit card. We do accounts receivable. We're going to skip over that. And we're going to get down to our last poll question. If you could go ahead and kick that off, Emily. And so it's pretty straightforward. Just wondering if you want to learn more about Abundant Accountant and have Michelle contact you, or if you'd like my team, the Melio Accountants team, contact you to learn more about Melio, or neither. Hopefully you won't choose the third one. And you can choose both on this if you'd like. Just don't choose all three, because then this would be very, very confusing for us when we see the results. And with that, I think we can really jump into a couple minutes of Q&A. Emily, I don't know how much time you have, but we can jump over to that.
Sure, that's fine. If you just want to go till 10 after, that would be fine.
You can do about 8 minutes of Q&A. That would work.
Yeah, perfect.
That works for me.
Except for now that I'm sharing, I lose the chat window. Let me find all of that again. And then, Emily, were questions coming in the Q&A panel along the way?
I didn't see anything in the Q&A. I did see a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
One I see right here, is Melio available for QuickBooks Online Advanced?
Yes. It's in all versions of QuickBooks Online, except for Simple Start, because Simple Start doesn't have bills, so it doesn't need pay bills.
Someone says, if I get a Melio account, how does that work with multiple clients? All one account still?
Yeah, so you have a parent account, just like with QuickBooks. You are the accountant, and then you invite your clients, or you add your clients to QuickBooks Online Accountant Edition. Kind of a similar model. So in Melio, you'll add your firm, and then you can add your clients to your dashboard.
Someone said, can you compare Melio and Bill.com besides cost?
Besides cost, we are easier to use. It's not intimidating, so you could stick your clients in Melio and they're not going to get scared. I think Bill.com has a lot more complicated use cases. You have to approve the bill, then you also have to approve the payment. Our approval process aren't that complicated. I think Bill.com lets you have 4, 5, 6, 7 unlimited approvers, right? So there's a lot of complicated use cases that Bill.com might do that we don't, but then again, we're solving for 97% of your customers, not those 3%.
Okay. Can my clients use Melio to pay their small independent contractors?
Yes, they can.
If you pay multiple invoices on one check, are all invoice numbers listed on the check stub?
We actually will send out a separate payment for each bill you pay. So if you're paying 6 bills to a vendor, we're going to send 6 separate bill payments that all match those bills. And so there's no clearing accounts. There's no bundling of transactions together. It's all one-to-one. So it reconciles really nicely and matches your bank feed when it clears.
Is there any advantage to purple over green?
Yeah. So in purple, you get a dashboard. There's an accountant's dashboard. In purple, you can do accounts receivable. In purple, you can set up approvals. You can invite additional users. My thing is, the nice thing about the way this is implemented, you can solve for each client what's right for each client. Sometimes I dance back and forth between purple and green. right? Maybe for one client, they have an in-house AP clerk, and you just set them up, connect all the pipes, and they do the bills in QuickBooks and they do the bill payments in QuickBooks, and that's it. Maybe you have another client where you're doing the accounts payable and the owner just needs to approve. In those cases, you would probably just invite the owner to Purple Melio. So you can do it, whatever's going to be the right fit for your client is what I'd recommend that you do.
Are debit cards treated like credit cards or ACH?
They're treated like, from a fees perspective, they're treated like ACH. There's no fee to use a debit card with Melio. But from a speed perspective, it's faster because the debit card's going to be, you're limiting a day of ACH. So it makes the ACH transfer process faster.
Is there a link for a demo?
Yeah, if you just go to melio.com/accountants, you can click a button that says book a demo. And we do a demo every single day. You can sign up for it.
For ACH, do you have ACH information for major vendors in the system already?
At this time, we do not. It's something that we're talking about how we get some of these in to the system.
Okay. What about QuickBooks desktop version?
So right now, we do not support QuickBooks Desktop. We only support QuickBooks Online. Actually, we only support QuickBooks Online. We don't even have support for any accounting system, not even QuickBooks Desktop. But QuickBooks Desktop is on my list of things. Eventually, we'll get to it. Right now, my focus is making the QuickBooks Online integration world-class. And then eventually, we'll focus on QuickBooks Desktop.
Okay, let me get over here in the Q&A. If your client is a sole proprietor, are they still considered a business?
Yes. If they're a 1099 vendor, yes. If it's your babysitter, no. Right.
Okay. I think that's all the questions for now. If anybody, oh, here we go. When will integration with AR be done?
Hoping by the end of the year, if not first quarter of 2021.
Okay. Well, yes, David and Michelle, thank you so much for today. Great presentation. Thank you. Everyone, thank you for attending.
Wow.
I will get the webinar recording and handout here to you shortly. We hope to see you all at the next Insightful Accountant webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.